For 5 seasons, no crops had grown in Kitalu. The wind blew dust instead of rain, and Wanja Rock, once sacred, now silent, loomed above the village like a forgotten god. The elders whispered that time had paused, that the earth was waiting for something unspoken. Children no longer laughed freely. The drums that once echoed at dusk were now still, and only the crows circled the skies. Beneath the silence, something waited. That night, Asha dreamed of water running uphill, of goats speaking in riddles, and of Wanja Rock cracking open like a seed. A voice, soft and old as wind in a cave, called her name not once, but thrice. When she awoke, her ears rang, and her palms were wet with dew though her room was dry. Her grandmother lay still on the mat beside her, blind eyes open. "It has begun," she whispered, though no one had spoken aloud. By the threshold of their hut lay a stone Asha had never seen. It pulsed faintly, warm to the touch. The moment her skin grazed it, a cut appeared across her finger, thin but deep, like a memory trying to break free. She didn't cry. She watched the blood drip onto the soil and vanish instantly. The earth had drunk her offering. Wanja Rock stood silent in the distance. Grandmother Bahati, blind since the war, held Asha's wounded hand and said, "They have chosen you." Her voice trembled not with fear, but with reverence. The rock remembers, and now it calls. What has been buried must rise. Asha, who had never known her parents, felt a tremor in her chest that did not belong to her. A rhythm older than breath. She did not speak. The candle flickered without wind. Dust rose in curling shapes, forming symbols only the oldest would recognize. Villagers paused, muttering prayers. "It's beginning again," one muttered. No birds chirped. Even the goats refused to bleat. Asha felt watched, not by eyes, but by memory itself. Somewhere in the silence, a drumbeat echoed once, distant, yet inside her bones. At dawn, her feet carried her without command. The path to Wanja Rock had been overgrown for decades, but her steps found it clean, as if cleared by spirits. Mist rolled in around her legs like coiling snakes. The villagers watched from afar, no one daring to stop her. Her grandmother whispered, "Go. What is hidden will not stay buried." She found it, a crevice in the rock's base, barely wider than her shoulders, lined with ancient carvings that glowed faintly when she touched them. Spirals. Eyes. A sun split in two. Her mother's name pulsed in her mind, though she'd never known it. Something within the rock exhaled, and Asha entered the dark. Inside, the rock breathed. The air was thick with the scent of moss, clay, and time. Soft murmurs echoed from unseen corners, voices not meant for ears, but for memory. Asha stood at the center of the chamber as the walls pulsed with silent cries. She was not afraid. She was being remembered. The basin at the chamber's heart shimmered with water dark as night. Asha leaned in and saw not her reflection, but a woman with eyes like her own, crying by firelight. Around her, a village burned. A baby in her arms. A necklace of bone. The woman looked up, mouth moving. No sound. But Asha knew what she said, "Find the name." Beneath a tattered cloth lay a drum taller than her knees. Its skin was stretched with sinew and sealed with clay. Symbols etched into it glowed faintly. She touched it, and pain jolted through her hand. Then came the whisper, "Speak what was buried." Her lips moved. A name passed them. And the drum replied with one thunderous beat. The wind blew though no trees moved. Stillness itself began to shift. In Kitalu, people dropped tools, turned toward the mountain. Mothers clutched children. Elders stood without speaking. Then came Asha, walking slowly from the trees. Her eyes glowed faintly, as if they had seen what lay beneath the world. No one spoke. Even the dogs howled once, then fell silent. The rock had awakened, and it had sent her. She returned not to welcome, but to fear. Doors slammed. Windows shut. Even friends turned their faces. She walked into Wanja, they whispered, and came back different. Only one child stood watching her, silent, curious, unafraid. Asha said nothing. The drumbeat still echoed in her ribs. Her stepmother wept behind a closed curtain. She was no longer just a girl. She was memory walking. The elders met beneath the ancient baobab, as they had for generations. None remembered the last time someone heard the drum. They whispered of droughts, omens, and bones left too close to the surface. Elder Muddy, his voice cracked with time, said, "If she has truly heard the drum, she carries not just its gift, but its curse." The others nodded. "We must watch her," said another. "Or she will become the storm." On the edge of Kitalu stood a hut no one had entered since before the rain stopped. Asha's feet found the door without thought. Inside lay bones painted with ochre, feathers blackened by smoke, and jars filled with dust. She knelt, brushing cobwebs from an old cloth. Beneath it, a bowl of obsidian water. She peered in and saw her grandmother as a girl, dancing barefoot before Wanja, her eyes filled with joy. In the shadows, she found a mask. Carved from sacred wood, dyed in forgotten colors. The symbol of the sun broken open, teeth shaped into a circle. As Asha lifted it, her reflection warped, stretched, and split. She wore it for only a moment, and the world bent. She heard voices, her mother, her father, the ones whose names had been erased. She removed it, gasping. The mask pulsed, alive. That night, Grandmother Bahati whispered one final truth. The name you carry was once mine. Now it is yours. She held Asha's hand until her breath faded, a smile soft on her lips. Outside, a single raindrop fell onto the roof. Then another. Then silence. The next morning, Bahati's mat was empty, but the scent of her herbs still lingered. The drum beat once more, only Asha could hear it. Wanja Rock was not the end of her path. It was the beginning. She stepped into the forbidden forest, where trees grew twisted, their hollow trunks shaped like silent screams. The air was thick with rot and memory. Asha moved carefully, the mask tied to her back, the drumbeat guiding her. Somewhere beyond the trees lay the burial place of names, those the village had erased, those who demanded to be known. In a clearing sat a figure neither dead nor alive. The keeper. Its ribcage was carved with letters, its eyes glowed with lost voices. Around it, vines bloomed with names etched into their leaves. Do you come to speak or to forget? It asked. Asha answered, I come to carry. It rose, towering, and placed a necklace of bones around her neck. Then let them speak, it said. And the wind screamed. The sky cracked open as Asha returned. Clouds swirled like ink. Lightning carved the sky above Wanja. The villagers ran for shelter. But Asha stood firm. Her hands raised, her voice lifted, not in chant, but in declaration. She named them. One by one. The forgotten. The shamed. The hidden. The guilty wept. The innocent cried out. The dead began to speak through the rain. From the summit of Wanja, a fig tree burst with golden fire. Leaves did not fall, they rose, spiraling into the clouds. The drumbeat grew louder, not from Asha's hands, but from the earth itself. Kitalu shook, not from destruction, but from memory returned. The village was not being cursed. It was being healed, with truth sharp enough to cut, and light bright enough to blind. The elders, once silent rulers, now knelt. Asha did not ask them to. The truth had. We buried them, Mudi wept. To protect peace. Asha shook her head. You buried pain and called it peace. You sealed voices and called it silence. She held the mask high. The sky grew darker. Now you must listen. And every elder, even those too proud, closed their eyes and listened to the names. From beneath Wanja Rock, water flowed, clear, alive, singing like it remembered the old songs. The river had not died. It had hidden, waiting for the truth to make the soil whole again. Children screamed with joy. Elders touched the water and wept. The drums sounded again, not from hands but from the hills. The silence was not broken. It had been transformed. In the rebuilt schoolhouse, Asha began to write. Not words, but names. In bark pages, in charcoal ink, in symbols that curved like rivers. Each name pulsed as it was written, the ink absorbing whispers. Children gathered. They helped. They drew what they saw in dreams. The book of dust grew heavy with truth. It was not a history, it was a resurrection. They held a festival not of crops, not of war, but of names. Each child spoke a name that had been lost. Each elder lit a candle for the truth they had hidden. Asha watched as joy and sorrow braided into a single rhythm. The fig tree was wrapped in colored cloth. Beneath it, the drum sat silent, respected, but no longer feared. Years passed, but the fig tree still stood, and beneath it, children gathered. Asha's hair had silvered, but her voice never cracked. She told stories, not legends, but names. And the wind, that once carried silence, now echoed with laughter, with truth, with life. Wanja Rock still watched. And in its shadows, the earth whispered, not of endings, but of beginnings remembered.